Yeah, so thank you for the reminder, Shreya. That was very important. So yeah, so we're discussing about the first aspect of today's session. That is, what is the identity of the holy name? So in understanding the identity, the very first understanding about the identity is the holy name is transcendental. That means it is not material sound vibration. So to explain this, Srila Prabhupada has given the experiment, a self-experiment each of us can perform. Try chanting a material name repeatedly. Prabhupada said, try to chant the name Mr. John, Mr. John, Mr. John, Mr. John, Mr. John. How long can you chant? Maybe 5 times, 10 times, and that's it. Beyond that, you get bored of it. You cannot repeat it. You get exhausted. But the name of Kṛṣṇa, we've been chanting since so long, but still we continue to chant. Though we might not have developed a taste, but still we continue to chant. Yeah, it's a simple experiment, but this is very profound. Right now, even with our material senses, we can understand the difference between a spiritual sound vibration and a material sound vibration. You never get exhausted of it. Why? Because Kṛṣṇa is non-different than his name. Yeah. And the holy name has wonderful divine properties, which makes it very blissful a process to chant. And you're never exhausted or tired or bored of chanting the name. It's a self-experiment. Any of us can try and realize and discriminate even at this level. So why is that the holy name is transcendental? What are the properties of the holy name? What is its true value? So this is given in our Chaitanya Charitamrta. It's a beautiful verse. And Prabhupada many a times has repeated the meaning and translation of this verse to understand what exactly is the true identity of the holy name. So this is nāma-kīrtana Krishna's Chaitanya rasa vigraha purna shuddho nityamukto abhinnatvam nama-namino. So in this, let's try to understand each of this, the meaning of each of it. Nama-kīrtana. Chintamani means it's a wish-fulfilling gem. Why is it a wish-fulfilling gem? So just like Kṛṣṇa, if you have the darshan of the Lord always appears and he's willing to bestow upon you so many benedictions, whatever you desire, right? And for example, Dhruva Maharaj has performed great tapasya. The Lord has appeared. The Lord wanted to offer something to him. He appeared as Narasimha-Dev in front of Prahlad Maharaj, and he wanted to offer so many benedictions to him. So similarly, the holy name of Kṛṣṇa is also wanting to give benedictions, fulfill our desires, especially the spiritual desires. So that is why, because the holy name is not different from Kṛṣṇa as a person. So that is why the holy name is Chintamani. Yeah? It bestows benedictions, just like Kṛṣṇa in person does. And Chaitanya rasa vigraha. So let's see what is the meaning of Chaitanya. Chaitanya means that which has living force. It is opposite of dead. Yeah, Chaitanya means full of living force. It's not something dead, but it has living potency within it. How do you understand this? I will give you a beautiful example. Not only holy name has the living force as a part of it, but a sincere chanter, especially who can chant the pure holy name, Shuddha Nama, can induce this Chaitanya even in dead matter. This happened in the life of Srila Gaura Das Babaji Maharaj. So who is Gaura Das Babaji Maharaj? He is the spiritual master of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, whose appearance we have celebrated just recently, few days ago, this Monday. And Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur is a spiritual master of Srila Prabhupada. So one day, one of the disciples of Srila Gaura Das Babaji Maharaj went to meet him. So at that time, Gaura Das Babaji Maharaj, he was sitting in a kind of palace that belonged to a queen. And he was chanting the holy name. So when he was chanting the holy name, this holy name was not just him chanting, by the power of his chanting, all the bricks on the wall, they have started chanting the holy name. And this was witnessed personally by his disciple. Yeah. Why? How could he induce even dead matter to chant? Because that was he was chanting Shuddha Nama, the pure holy name. So by the dint of his chanting of the pure holy name, that holy name has, even activated the dead matter around it to chant the holy name. So that is what is Chaitanya. That means it is a living force. It is not dead. And Rasa Vigraha. Rasa Vigraha means it is a form of all transcendental mellows. Like Kṛṣṇa is Rasaraj. That is, he's a king of all transcendental mellows. That is, he's a reservoir of all the rasas. Rasa means the different reciprocations, the different relationships that devotees have with Lord. Yeah. The Vatsalya, the Sakhya, Dasya, Madhurya, all these are the rasas. And similarly, the holy name is also, it is a form, Rasa Vigraha, it is a form of all the transcendental levels. Purna Shuddho Nitya Mukto, that is, it is ever liberated. Yeah, and it is not contaminated by material qualities. That's again one of the quality of the holy name. It is not contaminated by any material qualities. It's completely pure. Yeah, and because it's not different from Kṛṣṇa himself. Where there is Kṛṣṇa, there cannot be any Maya. Similarly, holy name is devoid of any contamination by material qualities. And it is always liberated and spiritual. That means it is never conditioned by the laws of material nature. This is exactly the difference between Hari Nama and Kṛṣṇa Nama and Kṛṣṇa Mantra. Okay, I will explain about that later. So this is the value of the holy name, yeah, the true identity. Yeah. So the traditional Vaishnava story, yes, I just spoke to you. So how does this holy name purify the chanter? That's the next question. When we just spoke about the identity of the holy name. And in fact, the holy name is considered a living entity's first introduction to Kṛṣṇa. His very first introduction to Kṛṣṇa is the holy name. That's how a living entity comes in contact with Kṛṣṇa. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur actually says there are only two things that are eternal in this material world. One is the Jivatma, that is the soul, and the other is the holy name. Everything else will perish over a period of time. But only these two are the eternal things, the Jiva and the holy name. So, so it is eternal. So how does the holy name purify the chant? How does it act on us? So, so as I said, it is a first contact of a devotee with Kṛṣṇa, yeah, the holy name. So how does it purify the chanter? By two ways. Number one, it diminishes the propensity to sin. And second is it purifies the consciousness. So how chanting works. So we all have been chanting since quite some time. So let us get into details of how this chanting as a process starts working in us. So when we start chanting, what happens is our propensity to sin starts diminishing. Okay, and simultaneously what is happening? The consciousness starts getting purified. But still, that's, this is in the beginning stages of chanting. But that doesn't, even after a period of time, still the propensity to sin still lingers, even if after the person has achieved an advanced stage in chanting. Even when a person is actually rectifying all the aparadhas, offenses to holy name, still the person has a degree of propensity to sin. How is it and why is it? So I'll tell you with an example. For example, let's take a small bottle of kerosene. Yeah. So you take the bottle of kerosene and you start spilling it out. Yeah. So that means, that kerosene represents our propensity to sin. So you start spilling it out. So as you're chanting, all your sinful propensities are draining down continuously. It's totally drained. That means you're free from all the nāma-kīrtanas. But after that, you just hold it and then still smell it. It still smells of kerosene, even after you have emptied the total bottle. So similarly, even after the holy name purifies a chanter to an advanced stage, still one should be very conscious to continue to chant, because there will be still lingering propensities to perform sinful activities. So chanting should continue in all circumstances, even in the advanced stage, even after achieving the perfection. So shortly, I will tell you what is the differences between chanting in the material world and chanting in the spiritual world. Yeah. So this chanting has been declared as the best form of devotional service. This is a beautiful verse in Chaitanya Charitamrta. Bhajanera Madhya śrēṣṭha nava-vidha bhakti Kṛṣṇa-prema Kṛṣṇa-dite dhare mahashakti Tara Madhya sarva-śrēṣṭha nāma-kīrtana niraparadhe nāma-laile pāya-prema-dhana. So Bhajanera Madhya śrēṣṭha nava-vidha bhakti. So we have understood that in Gita, we are all studying the middle 6 chapters of Gita, right? The middle 6 chapters are the essence of the entire Gita. Just like, if you want to describe a sandwich, you talk about the sandwich in terms of what is there inside. If there is cheese inside, you talk about cheese sandwich. If it's a jam, you call it a jam sandwich. I don't think. Then, or if there are vegetables inside, you say it's a vegetable sandwich. Yeah, so whatever is inside that defines your sandwich, whatever is in between. So similarly, that which is in between defines the entire book Gita. I mean, the whole essence of Gita has been compiled in that middle 6 chapters of the Gita. And what is the middle 6 chapters? They especially focus on the glory of bhakti, the most confidential knowledge. And this very bhakti has been completely expounded in Bhagavatam. And the conclusion of Srimad-Bhāgavatam is about Nama-bhajan, the glories of the holy name. And that conclusion is the very essence of Chaitanya Charitamrta, which I said is a PhD of the Gaudiya Vaishnava philosophy. So in all these books, the essence is devotional service. So of all these, and what is the way of executing this devotional service? Nava-vidha bhakti, Shravanam, Kirtanam, we have learned, hearing, chanting and all that. And each of these process is in itself effective to give Kṛṣna-prema. But now we're coming to the point. Very important point. Tara madhye sarva-śrēṣṭha nāma-kīrtana niraparadhe nāma-laile pāya-prema-dhana. Of the 9 processes of devotional service, the most important is to always chant the holy name of the Lord. And if one does so, avoiding the 10 kinds of offenses, one very easily obtains the most valuable love of God. It's that easy. So this is the glory of chanting. This is the Harinam is the most potent form of devotional service. Of all the yogas, the topmost is Bhakti Yoga. And in Bhakti Yoga, the highest way of performance of Bhakti Yoga is Navavidha Bhakti. And of the Navavidha Bhakti, the topmost, Tara Madhya Sarva-śrēṣṭha Nāma-kīrtana. The highest form of devotional service is Nāma-kīrtana. That is why in Bhagavad Gita, Kṛṣna tells, Yajñānam Japa Yajñosmi. Of all the yajñas, I am the Japa, chanting. Because it's the supreme-most form of executing devotional service or bhakti. And not just this. Even amongst the 5 limbs of bhakti, we have the 5 potent form of bhakti, which we are discussing right now, as given in the Chaitanya Charitamrta. What is that? What are the 5 limbs? Deity worship, devotees association, then Mathurā-vāsa, that is staying in the dham, Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, and chanting of the holy name. And it is declared that of these 5 limbs, the 5 potent forms of devotional service, the best practice is chanting of the holy names. In fact, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur says that each of these processes, and the other 4 processes, should point towards chanting of the holy name. There is this beautiful, beautifully written in the Hari Bhakti Shuddhodaya, which says that all other forms of bhakti are meant to, increase the chanting of the holy names. They're all in the background, but the foreground is chanting of the holy names. And Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur actually says each and every other 5 limb, like for example, the first one is deity worship. When you're rendering deity worship, it should be parallelly, done by nama bhajana. It should not be done alone to have the effectiveness. For example, if you take Mathurā-vāsa, residing in a dham, what is the purpose of Mathurā-vāsa? Yeah, that all the holy men come and sing the glories of Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Or if you see Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, it speaks about the glories of the holy name. That's a conclusion. Or if you see sādhu-saṅga, the purpose of sādhu-saṅga is to increase our inclination to chant the holy names. So in that way, each of the processes will point to finally chanting of the holy name. So among the 5 limbs of bhakti, the most potent practice is nama bhajan, that is chanting of the holy names. And in fact, it is the 9 processes of bhakti, or each in one way or the other, the chanting of the holy name itself. Like all these are included in chanting of the holy name. Like for example, when you're chanting, you're simultaneously doing Shravanam and Kirtanam. You're hearing the holy name and you're reciting the holy name. Yeah. Vandanam, that means you're offering prayers to the holy name. What is chanting? Chanting means you're praying to Radhe Rani to please engage me in the service of Kṛṣṇa. So your Vandanam is taken care of there. Smaranam, yeah, you're remembering Kṛṣṇa, Lord Kṛṣṇa, by chanting the holy names. Archanam, you're actually worshipping Kṛṣṇa by chanting the holy names. Yeah, and of course, and when you're remembering the lotus feet of Kṛṣṇa by chanting the holy names, actually, when you're chanting the 108 beads, each of that bead is equal to the lotus feet of each of the gopis. Yeah, so it's also pada sevanam. Yeah, and also you're serving the Lord. You're chanting in the mood of service. So there is dasyam, and you're developing a relationship with the Lord of friendship. So that is sakhyam, and you're surrendering yourself completely by chanting the holy name. You're surrendering your consciousness to the Lord. So it's atma-nivedana. So all other 9 processes, the other 8 processes of bhakti are included in chanting. So just by doing your chanting, you're executing all the 9 processes of devotional service. This is how potent chanting is. Yeah. So not only is it, deep potent form by performing which you're performing all the 9 processes, but also, it's the best practice of all the remaining 5 limbs, the highest. That is the glory of chanting the holy name. Yeah. So this holy name is of 3 types. The 3 types are the Gauna, Mukhya, and Madhurya. That's it. Okay. So Mukhya means the primary names. The holy names of Kṛṣṇa are primary. There can be secondary, and they are sweet and Madhurya. So what are the primary names of Kṛṣṇa? Primary names of Kṛṣṇa are like those which are related directly to his pastimes, like Govinda, Gopala, Nandanandana, Madhava, Gopinatha, Radhanatha, Vrajagopala. All these are primary names. That means they speak about Kṛṣṇa in his Braja Leela, which are describing his pastimes. Then what are secondary names of Kṛṣṇa? So secondary names of Kṛṣṇa are like, Srishtikarta, Jagadodhara, yeah, like which speak about his function in the material world. So these are the secondary names. So it is said that by chanting this primary names or mukhya nama, one attains the final destination of love of God. But by chanting the gauna nama, one will attain only benefits such as piety and purification or spiritual elevation. But it does not give the ultimate benefit of chanting the mukhya nama, which is, which speaks about the leelas of Lord Krishna, which is to attain love of God. And Madhurya is the Hare Krishna Mahamantra is actually chanted by those people who are having that feeling of sweetness towards the Lord. Yeah. So there are very finer details, very high details. Probably I'll talk about that some other time. Yeah. So, and here is the difference. The Hare Krishna Mahamantra it's not merely a mantra. It's a holy name. I'll tell you what's the difference. Mantra means that which is actually given by a very powerful personality with some benedictions. That is, you chant this mantra and these are the benefits that you will get. That is mantra. But what the Hare Krishna Mahamantra is not just a mantra, it is nama, Krishna nama. That means it's the holy name. That is, it is non-different than Krishna himself. It is completely independent. For a mantra is, as I said, it is a potency invested by a very highly spiritual personality that you chant this mantra, you will get this benefit. That's it. That mantra can deliver you only that benefit. But the holy name of Krishna is completely independent. Just like how Krishna can give anything for you or do anything for you, similarly the Krishna nama, just like the person Krishna is completely independent, the name Krishna is also completely independent. That means it can award you any benediction, beginning from whatever you desire, your spiritual inclinations, to as great as revealing your own spiritual identity in the spiritual world, and to taking you back to Godhead and putting you back in your original constitutional position of the servant of Krishna. That is the potency of holy name of Krishna. It's much beyond. You can't compare it to a mantra. Mantra simply just gives you that benediction which has been bestowed upon that personality by that personality who is offering you that mantra. But holy name is all inclusive. There is nothing it cannot bestow. Just like Krishna, he's unlimited. He can give you anything. So is the holy name of Krishna. It is completely independent. It can bestow you any benediction. That's a difference. Just like what is mantra? We sometimes chant, right? 108 means Om Namo, something, or Swaha. These mantras we generally offer during some rituals. So these mantras are potent to give us a particular benediction. But the holy name of Krishna can give any benediction because it's completely independent. That's the difference. And there's also a difference between chanting in the material world and chanting in the spiritual world. So how are they different? Chanting in the material world is, chanting is what happens in the foreground. In the background, we do a lot of adjustments, like we arrange our day, our time, everything. We sit at one place and we completely focus on chanting. And the purpose of this chanting here is to actually attain spiritual upliftment, elevation, and purification of our consciousness. That is the purpose of chanting in the material world. But chanting also happens in the spiritual world, but this chanting is more in the background. What comes to the foreground is the direct service to Radha Govinda, the direct service to Radha Krishna. Like, for example, Yashoda Mai, she's doing direct service to Krishna, churning butter. But as she's doing it, it is said, like when she's churning the butter, with the rod, her bangles were producing the sound of the kartal, and the churning rod was producing the sound of the mridanga. So with that tune, she used to sing the holy names of Krishna. That's her kirtan. But this nāma-kīrtana is in the background. The main thing that's happening is churning butter for Krishna. That's in the foreground. That's what happens in the spiritual world. Service to Krishna and Radharani, it comes from the foreground, and chanting comes in the background because it's very much a part of them. But in the material world, we have to bring chanting to the foreground and focus and do it as our sadhana. So that's the difference. Yeah, so this is about identity of the holy name. So we've all understood what is the identity of Krishna's name. So whose name does Krishna chant? Till now we have heard about the glories of Krishna's holy name. So whose name does Krishna chant? So the wonderful sacred mantra Krishna chants is the name of his dearmost Radharani. Srimati Radharani's Maha Mantra is the name of Lord Krishna. This is, Krishna always chants the name of Srimati Radharani. Okay. So it just reminds me of the glory of the holy name, that when it is chanted purely, especially out of love and affection, it is said that when Radharani used to chant the name of Krishna, even by chanting half the name, Krish, tears of unlimited love used to flow out of her eyes, and it used to drench her bodily limbs. So that was the ecstasy with which she used to chant the holy name of Krishna. Just half the syllable. That was the effect it had. So this is chanting in Vrindavan. It's at a different level only. Okay. Yeah. So now the next leg, the next part of our session is about what are the glories of the holy name. So why, even before we discuss the glories of the holy name, we should understand why is it important to know the glories of the holy name. So we were just singing, Tachartham Vismrite Ratna, Aho Dukkham Maha Dukkham, Dukkha Dukkhataram Yatha, Tachartham Vismrite Ratna, Harer Namayeva Kevalam. That means the most pitiable thing, the most sorrowful thing, the most dreadful thing, the most miserable thing of this world is that Kachartham, we have mistaken a Ratna, that means a very precious gem, to a kacha. Kacha means glass, to an ordinary piece of glass. So that is how we are treating the holy name. The holy name is a precious jewel, but we are simply treating it as a useless, piece of glass, a broken piece of glass. Why? It is because we are not investing our time and consciousness in understanding what is its glory, what is the value of what we have received. Sometimes it's very important to, in our routine life of running and sadhana and doing so many things, just sit back and understand what is actually that has been given to us in our hands. What is the value of it? What is the glory of it? It tremendously increases our commitment to our own sadhana. There's this famous verse in Mukundamala Stotra. Ascharyametad manushya-loke sudham parityajya visham pibanti nāma-ni nārāyana-gocharāni tyatyanva vācā kuha-kappatanti. So this Kulashekar Alvar is saying Ascharyametad manushya-loke. It is such a very amusing thing to see the mankind. Why is it amusing? Sudham parityajya visham pibanti. They give away nectar, ambrosia, sudha, visham pibanti, and they drink poison. The entire mankind, they are just throwing away the nectar and they're drinking poison. Namani Narayana Gocharani. Instead of drinking the holy name of Narayana, Lord Krishna, they are simply wasting their time in the ordinary gossip and newspapers. Why do they have to waste their time in this? So this is King Kulashekar Alvar lamenting upon seeing the condition of the citizens who are not taking up the chanting of the holy name. What a leader he is. So that is why one should invest one's conscious energy and effort in understanding the true glory of the process that we are following. If not, we get lost and we lose taste within no time. And it just becomes an ordinary routine. And that is why we do not make advancement. Just like as I told the story in the beginning, the rickshawala is also chanting, the dhobi is also chanting, these girls who are playing with the cow dung, they're also chanting. Yeah, but the chanting does have effect on all of them. But they would not get the highest benefit, the bhajana rahasya, the confidential reality of what the holy name can truly offer. For that to happen, one should consciously invest one's energy into understanding what is the true value of the holy name and what is the glory of the holy name. Yeah. This is what Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur said. Chant the Nama-Mahima. Nama-Mahima means glory of the holy name. Practice that daily. I also do that. Harinam is our life. We have understood that Harinam is our life and our soul. It is everything. It is ready to give you all the benedictions. And it is the topmost of all the spiritual processes. And it is essence of all scriptures. So what should we do? We should try to hear more and more the glories of the holy name so that our faith increases and we chant with more intensity, with more commitment, and with less. And when this increases, as our chanting, as seriousness of chanting increases, as our commitment increases, slowly the offenses reduces. And the kind of benefit we reap is like delta x square. There's a lot of immediate increase in our own development of internal bhakti towards the Lord. One should invest time in understanding the glories of the holy name. So what is the glory? The holy name has the potency to reveal the topmost secret. There is something called Siddha Pranali. This is again a pastime with Srila Gaur-Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj. That once a Grihastha couple has approached him and asked him for a Siddha Pranali mantra. What is Siddha Pranali mantra? In those days, there are some gurus who used to offer, who upon seeing some people, they used to tell them what is their Siddha Deha. That is, what is their real identity in the spiritual world. And they used to say, now you chant this mantra and you, within no time, you will realize that identity. That is called a Siddha Pranali mantra. But later on, it has been banned because many false gurus started misutilizing this practice and misled many of the followers. So yeah, when this Grihastha couple has approached Gaur-Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj to give us our Siddha Pranali mantra, he only said one thing: chant the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. That is sufficient for you to take you to the topmost position, and the holy name itself will reveal to you gradually about it. Not only purifies your heart, but when you chant sincerely over a period of time, it will give you your complete self-realization, your true identity, your relationship with the Lord, and the true identity of the Lord. Everything will be revealed to you simply by chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. That is why it is topmost. The holy name has the potency. The holy name means the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. It has the potency to reveal the highest secrets. We don't have to go for any other mantras, either Siddha Pranali, this, that, or Gayatri mantra, etc. I mean, Gayatri mantra, there is again also there's a difference between the Hare Krishna Mahamantra and the Gayatri mantra. That's a different topic. We'll discuss that some other time. But the fact is, the holy name of Krishna, that is the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, it has a potency to reveal all the topmost secrets, the highest secrets, and it can give the highest benediction. So next question is, when the holy name has so much of potency, to whom does the holy name reveal itself? That's the next question. Does it reveal to everybody and anybody? No, there's this famous verse in Chaitanya Charitamrta. Ata Shri Krishna Namadi na bhaved grahyam indriyai sevon mukhehi jihvado swayam eva spuratyada. That is, Ata Shri Krishna, the holy name of Krishna and his pastimes and his qualities and all. Na bhaved grahyam indriyai. They cannot be accessed through our material senses of ears, nose, eyes, tongue, etc. Sevon mukhehi jihvado. Unmukha means favorable service. When you render favorable service, unmukha seva, jihvado, starting with the tongue, swayam eva spuratyada. The holy name will reveal itself on itself. Krishna will start revealing himself on himself, like by himself, because Krishna is supremely independent. You cannot induce him to reveal himself to us. When Krishna is pleased, he will reveal himself to us. And he is not accessible to his material senses. So in no amount of our personal endeavor can actually reveal the truth of the holy name. And how is it revealed? When Kṛṣṇa is pleased with our service, simple, this is the essence. When Kṛṣṇa is pleased with our service attitude, he will reveal everything through the holy name. Also, it is stated as a beautiful verse. Vichitra leela rasasagarasya prabhor vichitra spuritat prasadat vichitra saṅkīrtana-madhurī-sa natu svayatnāriti sadhu siddhyet. So all the leelas and the rasas, they are to be spuritat prasadat. Prabhor vichitrat spuritat prasadat. That means they are to be realized by the mercy. Prasadat means through mercy only they are realized. Natu svayatnāt, it is not possible by one's own endeavor. So the true value of the holy name, or the true glory of the holy name, is realized by the mercy of Kṛṣṇa in the heart of a sincere chanter. So these are some verses that I have gathered about the glories of the chanting of the holy name, because as I said, to understand the glories of chanting of the holy name itself increases our inspiration to chant. So this is what Mahaprabhu tells Sanatana Goswami about the glory of the holy name, saying, Nama vina kali kale nahi ara dharma sarva mantra sarya nama yehi shastra marma. The holy name of Kṛṣṇa is the essence of all mantras and the purport of all revealed scriptures. The holy name of Kṛṣṇa, the essence of all mantras. Yeah. Without, other than the holy name, there is no other dharma to be performed, especially in the age of Kali Yuga. And Sarva Mantra Sara, it is the essence of all the mantras. Yehi Shastra Marma, this is the secret of all, or essence. Marma means the secret or essence of all the scriptures. What is it? It's just the holy name of Kṛṣṇa. And this is what Mahaprabhu is telling Sanatana Goswami. Okay. And this is a very, very interesting verse from Padyavali, very beautiful verse. What is the effect the holy name has upon a person who even just starts desiring to chant? Matlab, see, they didn't even start chanting. You went and you spoke to somebody and about the glory of chanting the holy name, and that person just developed a desire. Okay, let me try to chant. Even if you start desiring like that, do you know what happens? This is what this verse states. Vepante duritani moha mahima sammohanam alambate sātankam nakaranjanim kalayati śrī-chitragupta kriti sānandanam madhuparka samvriti vidhau vedhakkaroti udyamam vaktum namni tavesha varabhilashite brumah kim anyat param. So this is a beautiful verse. Vepante duritani. Vepante duritani means the sins start trembling in fear when you have just decided to chant. Okay, let me try chanting the holy name of Kṛṣṇa. The desire just sprouted in your heart. As soon as this desire has come in your heart, all the sins that are there, they start trembling in fear. Arey, ho gaya hamara kaam. This person is not going to sin anymore. He's just got the desire of chanting the holy name of Kṛṣṇa. So all the sins start trembling in fear. And then moha mahima sammohanam alambate. Then the glory of material illusion, all this material illusion which has trapped us in this material world, who's making us feel that we are this body, we are not the soul, we are disconnected from Kṛṣṇa, all this entire moha that is going on, illusion of material existence. What will happen to that illusion? That illusion itself faints unconsciously. Why? Because this person has desired to chant. Just the desire sprouted in this person to chant. So the illusion personified fainted. Then again, what happened to Chitragupta? So this Chitragupta, who is actually taking an account of all our sins that we perform with our body, minds, and body, mind, and words. Sātankam nakaranjanim. Sātankam means to see. No, Shatanka netram, we sing in Damodarashtakam. He glances upon what? Nakaranjanim. He glances upon the toenails of that person with awe and reverence. Why? Because this person has decided to start chanting the holy name of Kṛṣṇa. That means soon he will be rid of all the sins. Soon all these piles of stocks of things that I'm counting off, they will be burned to ashes. Why this person has desired to chant? Can you imagine? This is a potency of the holy name. And then what happened to Lord Brahma? He begins to start making madhuparkas. Sanandanam madhuparka sambriti vidhau vedak karoti udyamam. Brahma prepares madhuparka to worship. Madhuparka means what? What is madhupark? Madhupark is we offer to the deities, the mixture of all these pañcamrit. That is madhupark. It is offered whenever a person is highly worshipable. We offer it. Like when we are doing deity worship, whenever we have to perform the abhishek of the deities, the first thing that we do is you offer incense and you offer madhupark to the deities because the deities are highly worshipable. So what does Brahma do? He starts preparing this madhupark to offer this to this person who has just desired to chant. Why? Now that person has become a worshipable person. To whom? Lord Brahma, the supreme creator. Yeah, and what more? Bhaktum namni tavesha varabhilashite. What more can you say than this about the glories of chanting the holy name? Simply by just starting to desire that, okay, let me chant the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. He just desired and sin started trembling in fear. The illusion fainted. Chitragupta started looking at the toes of that person with awe and reverence. And Brahma started preparing madhupark to make and to worship the person who has decided. Not just decided, he just desired to chant. So that is the glory of chanting of the holy names of Kṛṣṇa. So what more can be said? What should stop us actually from diving into this nectarian ocean? It's just, and why we don't do it? Now I have more details about that. Though the holy name is full of these great glories, why are we so reluctant? Why are we so still not getting into it? There are reasons for it. Okay, so the holy name also has the potency to take a person from bhava to prema. In fact, the only holy name has that power to bestow the highest level of perfection of human life, that is prema. Okay, so that's about the second session. We've discussed about the identity of the holy name. We've discussed about the glories of the holy name. So now we'll just discuss about the 3 stages of chanting the holy name. I'll discuss it in brief. So we all have started chanting. So we should know where we are heading towards. Many years ago, when I started chanting in the year 2006, there was a small, nice compilation of a book that was made by His Grace Radheshyam Prabhuji, which exactly consisted of these 3 stages of chanting of the holy name. I got a lot of clarity when I understood what are the 3 stages of chanting holy name. And my chanting improved tremendously, and after I read that book. So personally, that's why I thought, understanding 3 stages will help us. So the 3 stages of chanting holy name are nāma-aparādha, nāma-abhāsa, and śruddha-nāma. So first, when we start chanting, we start with a lot of offenses because we do not have sufficient faith. Yeah, so we a lot of offenses that we commit. Then later on, these offenses start getting cleared. That's the next stage. It's called the clearing stage. That is nāma-abhāsa. And the third stage is śruddha-nāma. Śruddha-nāma means pure holy name. Yeah, and this śruddha-nāma is chanted only by pure devotees who are completely fixed in bhakti. I just told you the example of Srila Gaur Kishore Das Babani Maharaj. When he was chanting, all the bricks also started chanting. That is śruddha-nāma. Śruddha-nāma has that potency. See, that's where, the Chaitanya potency of the holy name got manifested. Why? Because he was chanting the śruddha-nāma. The śruddha-nāma can manifest all the potencies of Lord Kṛṣṇa. So let's talk more about nāma-aparādha and abhāsa because we are in that stage. So first stage is a nāma-aparādha. So what is aparādha? What is nāma-aparādha stage? The first stage. So this is the utterance of holy name that is made consciously with enmity in the heart. There is still a lot of enmity in the heart. That means enmity is just the opposite of love. We still did not develop the attachment, rati, or love for Kṛṣṇa. What is there? Still that enmity is there. So with that consciousness of enmity when we chant, what we are doing is aparadha. So how do you free yourself from this nama aparadha? So though initially we chant with a lot of aparadhas, what is the remedy? Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur says that we have to constantly, we should not give up chanting because we are in the stage of aparadha. We can overcome the aparadhas by chanting more and more. Gradually, when you chant more and more, the offenses get cleared. And then, we gradually progress. So that is why the ways and means of getting freed from the nama aparadhas are three. Performing bhakti. So bhakti means again devotional service. Whenever you're performing service, that has a direct impact on your chanting. If this is my own personal experience, my humble experience in my own little years in bhakti, that whenever we do seva, especially that seva which is pleasing to the Vaishnavas, the seva which is pleasing to your Guru Maharaj or pleasing to Kṛṣṇa, then such a chanting, after doing that seva, you then start chanting, you can immediately find a difference in your chanting. Especially when your spiritual master is pleased with you, finish your chanting, you automatically start shedding tears while you're chanting. It happens. Because that's the power of pleasing a pure devotee. That's the power of devotion, bhakti. That is why, devotional service should happen simultaneously when you're chanting. That is why they say also we should accept certain things like sitting under the shade of Tulasi Maharani, very close to Tulasi Maharani, and then chanting, because she's devotee of Lord Kṛṣṇa. She can just bestow upon us mercy. So that is why these are three ways of getting over nama aparadhas. One is performing bhakti, devotional service. The power of Kṛṣṇa's name, that is continue chanting more and more and more. That chanting of more of Kṛṣṇa's name gives the determination to chant. Some people say that, Mataji, I'm like stuck in so many rounds. I'm unable to chant more. I'm unable to come to 16 rounds. So initially when I started chanting, I had this struggle. I started chanting 16, but then initially it was on and off. So one day, one Nirjala Ekadashi, I did complete fasting and I chanted 64 rounds. I was doing my internship at that time, in the year 2005 or 6, I guess, 5. So I observed Nirjala Ekadashi and I did my 64 rounds. From the next day onwards, chanting 16 rounds became very easy for me. So that is the power of Kṛṣṇa's name. Yeah, when you chant more, the holy name gives you that strength, that determination to chant his name regularly. Sometimes we miss the regularity. So many devotees ask me, Mataji, how, I'm skipping some rounds. I'm unable to keep up the regularity. I'm unable to have that concentration. So this is a remedy. The remedy is on occasions, take some occasions like Janmashtami, or maybe Janmashtami we have to do a lot of service. Ekadashi. Ekadashis are very, very wonderful opportunities to increase our rounds. Chant extra rounds on Ekadashis. That will give a lot of strength to chant the holy name throughout the week. Especially we have 2 Ekadashis in a month. That is why if you see very serious devotees on Ekadashi days, they don't do any extra activities. Yeah, there are some devotees who don't even do deity worship on that day. They exclusively keep it for chant, because that chanting will give a lot of strength during the rest of the period. Yeah, especially the chanting that is done on Ekadashi has a lot of potency. So chant more, you get more strength to chant, because of which we become more consistent. Yeah. And how the third way is by the mercy of Kṛṣṇa's associates. That is why one has to chant in the association of devotees. It gives us a lot of strength and inspiration to chant. And very that is why it's called nāma-kīrtana, sankirtana yajna. That means people come together and chant. And when people come together and chant, it has more potency than sitting alone and chanting. Yeah, sitting alone and chanting has its own impact, but coming together and chanting has a very different and very high impact. Especially when we come in association of pure devotees and chant, it gives a lot of, again, delta X. Okay, the 10 offenses and 10 defenses. Yes, there are 10 offenses to chanting of the holy name stated in Padma Puran. I have discussed this in our morning japa session. It's a huge topic. I won't be touching upon it right now. And there is one last offense, which is the 11th offense. And what is this 11th offense? This is what we all struggle with when we are chanting. And this offense is inattention. And this inattention is said to be the root cause of all the offenses. That means because of this offense, all other offenses are happening. If we can rectify this, all other offenses are also automatically rectified. Yeah. So how do we rectify this inattention? This inattention is also further classified as we have this in the Bhaktya Loka by Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur. He describes about these 3 types of inattention: apathy, laziness, and distraction. So apathy or indifference, it's also called audacemia. Indifference, that means, okay, yes, I understand chanting is very glorious. It is the highest form. Okay, that means apathy. There is indifference. That means you're not still convinced at the heart. That is called audacemia. You're not being very conscious of your chanting. You're chanting, but your attention is elsewhere. Yeah, that is indifference. And do we all of us have an experience of this apathy or indifference? That means we're just waiting to finish off our rounds and simultaneously thinking what is the next thing to do. Or we are making plans to what to do in the remaining part of the day. So this is called indifference. So how do we overcome? Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur says this can be overcome by chanting in the association of those who are very serious about their own chanting. Yeah, who are seriously progressing towards Shuddhanam, or in chanting in the association of pure devotees. It's seriously my own personal experience. Whenever I go to Yatra, our spiritual master, my Guru Maharaj, Maharaj always comes for the early morning chanting. And when we chant in the association of Maharaj, in the association of all the devotees, the early morning chanting, that's the best chanting of the year. So this, and when you see their eagerness for chanting the holy name, it automatically, we become inspired to chant that way. So that is why taking that physical association of those great devotees while chanting, it improves our chanting tremendously, has a tremendous impact. And this kind of inattention can be overcome, of audacity, of indifference towards chanting can be overcome. Also, it is suggested that making an appropriate ambience for chanting also helps to rectify this offense. Like if you have ever visited the place of Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, in his house, there is a separate place for chanting, yeah, which is devoid of disturbances. And that is the way to actually overcome this vikshepa or distraction. And the second thing is laziness, jadya. So another type of inattention is laziness, jadya. That means too lazy to go pick up the bead bag and then start chanting. Or even if you chant, you're not investing your consciousness. So you see, actually, to do something mechanically is very easy. That is, superficially, we might be just rolling the beads and our tongue is just vibrating the name. But are we actually putting our heart into it? Are we investing our consciousness into it? So to invest our consciousness, it's the greatest investment actually. So conscious chanting means you're just bringing in all your faculties to one focus. So that is why it's the highest sacrifice. Why? Because you're sacrificing your consciousness as you're chanting. And the opposite of sacrificing that consciousness is laziness. That means you're just, okay, wherever the mind is wandering, you're just going with it. No personal endeavor to bring it back to the holy name. That is laziness, jadya. That is why, when Arjuna tells in the Gita that chanchalam hi mana Kṛṣṇa, it's very balavan, it's very difficult to control the mind. Kṛṣṇa says, I understand. But Kṛṣṇa says it is possible by constant practice and detachment. And what is the practice? Giving up laziness, making a conscious effort. So this second type, laziness, can be conquered by that conscious effort. And third is distraction or vikshepa. Distraction is, as I said, the mind is wandering to different places, thinking of many other things other than Krishna. So actually, Prabhupada says the devotee should know how to welcome Krishna. I mean, in any of your house, if you have invited a very important guest, how do you receive that guest? Guest reception in itself is a big science. It's a very beautiful culture. We receive the guest with such attention, with such love, with flowers, with gandham, and with all perfumery items, offering all good words, and receive with a lot of intent and attention. That's how you receive, right? So when you're chanting the holy name, so you're calling Krishna. So Krishna is coming. So you have invited him and Krishna has come. But we are thinking something else. We are looking at something else. It's just like, imagine you have gone for a lunch or dinner with your friend and you're sitting opposite to each other at a table. And, you just began to chat. And your friend is sitting there for you to talk. And, you're right in front, but you're looking elsewhere. You're seeing especially the 12th offense is avoid using your iPhone while chanting. Imagine you're doing all this. How does a friend feel who's sitting right in front of you? Krishna is that person whom you have invited through your chanting. And he has come, he has descended. But if you're not attentive to his presence, it's actually an aparadha. It's such a huge offense. So one should be conscious of it. That is why chanting has to be done early morning. If you want it to be effective, if you want it to be fruitful, if you want it to bestow upon you all those great benedictions that it is fully, compact. These are the three types of inattention and how to overcome. And also to overcome distraction, common sense is choose the best part of the day, which is free from distractions, that is early morning, Brahma Muhurta hours, and also in a place which is free from distractions. So these are the three types of intention, how to overcome them. And then that's the final aspect of Nāma-parāda. As we are chanting, our whole group is called the Bhakti Lata care. I thought it's very important for us to understand about the Bhakti Lata. The Chaitanya Mahaprabhu explains that when our bhakti is compared to a creeper, lata, that is why it is called Bhakti Lata. So as you're, just like you're watering the root of Bhakti Lata, you're watering, just like you're watering the root of the creeper, you nourish the creeper of your bhakti by watering it with the chanting of the holy name. So the more you're chanting, your Bhakti Lata creeper starts growing and growing and growing and growing. And as this creeper grows and grows and grows, it penetrates through all the material illusions and it reaches the spiritual world, and finally it bears its fruits at the lotus feet of Radha and Kṛṣṇa. And what is that beautiful fruit that it bears? The beautiful fruit is love of Godhead. And this fruit Kṛṣṇa tastes and he offers it back to the devotee as a Mahaprasad. So that fruit is the love of God, the fruit of Bhakti Lata. So as we are watering this Bhakti Lata, something happens if we are inattentive. What happens? Weeds start growing. And superficially, they also appear like Bhakti Lata only, but they are very dangerous. Why? Because when we are chanting, and instead of nourishing the Bhakti Lata, we might end up nourishing the weeds that are going around the Bhakti Lata. And these weeds become stronger and stronger and stronger. And what do these weeds depict? Here are the 6. Nishiddhāchara. Nishiddhāchara means breaking the 4 regulative principles. Yeah? Kutinati. Kutinati means having very diplomatic behavior, hypocrisy. Jiva himsana, animal killing, or in fact, causing violence to anybody through our words or through our behavior. Yeah, that is jiva himsana. Labha, puja, pratishtha. Labha means always having the desire of, I want some profit out of this. Yeah. Puja, desire for adoration. Pratishtha, desire for distinction. Yata upashaka gana. These are all the weeds. Upashaka means these are the weeds. These are the 6 weeds that choke the growth of bhaktilata, the creeper of devotion. And when they start choking the creeper of bhaktilata or creeper of devotion, sometimes if the choking is too much, the bhaktilata actually collapses. It cannot grow any further. That is why we should be very careful about the attitudes that are but we are simultaneously developing as we are progressing in our bhakti. Yeah. Kintu yadi latara sangye ute upashaka, unwanted creepers or the weeds. Bhukti mukti vancha. And from where these weeds are coming, bhukti mukti vancha. That means desire from sense gratification and desire for liberation. Yatal asankhya taralekha. So they grow along with the creeper of devotional service. And the varieties of such unwanted creepers are unlimited. So one should be very careful and conscious while we are chanting. We should chant with concentration. We should chant with devotion, so that these weeds don't grow and choke up our bhaktilata. Then our progress is very, very fast. So actually, the holy name has the potency to bestow the ultimate goal within no time, very fast, in fact, within days. But the fact that we still did not develop, that means we are performing aparadhas. Okay, so that is why it's important to understand these aparadhas and start rectifying them consciously. That is when our bhaktilata grows in a healthy way, and it starts reaching to heading towards the lotus feet of the Lord. Okay, so isn't this such a great science? Who said devotion is simply a sentiment? I have never found any science so scientific like this. Bhakti, is not a mere sentiment, so scientific. Everything explained. Okay, that's nama aparadha. Then quickly I'll just speak about nama-bhas and shuddhanam, and I'll just finish it off. What is nama-bhas? It's a clearing stage because it clears or purifies the heart of all sins. And it is explained in the Bhagavatam. So these are the 4 ways of chanting the nama-bhas: sanketyam, parihasyam, stobam, helanam, yuvacha. One who chants the holy name of Lord is freed from reaction of unlimited sins, even if he chants indirectly. Sanketya means indirectly, to indicate something else. Just like how Ajamila chanted the name of Narayana, but he was actually calling out his son. He was not calling out Narayana himself. But still, even that holy name had such an effect. It stopped the Yamadutas from attacking him, and the Vishnu Dutas came and interfered and said, he's our man. He's saved from such a greatest danger just by chanting the name of Narayana, by which he did not address the Lord. He was just talking about he was just addressing his son. So that is Sanketyam. That means to indicate something else other than the Lord himself. Or Parihasyam, jokingly. Sometimes, some people come and say, hey, you Hare Krishnas. That way also, just by uttering the word Hare Krishna, they're getting some sukriti out of it. Musical entertainment. Yeah, stobham. Some people just they might not be really glorifying the Lord, but they're just trying to show away their musical prowess. Or even neglectfully. Helanam. Even all these kinds of things have, even if you're chanting in this way, the holy name has its effect. Yeah, that is nama-bhas. So, what is the difference between nama-bhas and nama-parad? If a person is in the stage of nama-bhas, clearing stage, he will quickly progress towards shuddhanam. That means he's in a progressive stage. My counselor gave a very interesting understanding of what is nama-bhas. Abhas means a shadow, basically. Abhas means shadow. So just like sometimes if you go to a medical college, sometimes you see a person wearing a white coat. In fact, even students wear the white coat, even internees wear the white coats, but they're not doctors still. But the patient go and call them doctor. So he's not a doctor, but he's a doctor he's about to become doctor. So he's a shadow reflection of a doctor. So in Abhas bole to, he's just that internee doctor. It's not the Shuddhanam. Shuddhanam means he's a doctor. Okay, so that's the difference between nama abhas. And what is nama aparad? A person who is chanting the holy name with the aparad, he can never enter the realm of Shuddhanam. That means he can never be awarded pure love of God. But if you're chanting abhas, very quickly you're in the clearing stage. We will soon, the person will soon go towards Shuddhanam. That's the difference between abhas and aparad. So namabhas itself, even if you're chanting namabhas, it has several benefits. What happens? Your sinful reactions are annihilated. You're liberated from the effects of Kali, freedom from fear and worries, protection from influence of ghosts and malefic planes. So this is what happened to Ajamal, right? He was protected from the Yamadutas. The attainment of 4 goals, all dharma, artha, kama, moksha, you can simply attain by chanting the namabhas. You have boundless spiritual bliss, and if you're chanting, you have cleared all your offenses, then you get eternal residence in the Vaikuntha planets. This is the effect of namabhas. So finally, from namabhas to Shuddhanam, how to progress from namabhas to Shuddhanam? In the association of pure devotees and by giving up the company of namaparadis. So finally, what is Shuddhanam? There is very limited limited information, because we are not yet at that stage, but let's understand the definition. So Shuddhanam is Harinam that is free from all the 10 offenses. Simple. And what is the effect of Shuddhanam? All the sum total of all your karmic reactions are totally destroyed, burnt out. It's a beautiful verse in the Mukundamala Stotra. Yeah. Bhavabhaya, yeah, all your karmic reactions become zero, nullified. The sum total is destroyed. And what's the next one? Prema will arise. These are the 2 effects of Shuddhanam, and only Shuddhanam can give this. So how to rise to Shuddhanam? Final conclusion, by Sambandha Jnana. Sambandha Jnana is that Jnana which Kṛṣṇa awards a sincere devotee, or that Jnana which the spiritual master gives in the heart. Divya Gyan Hridaya Prakasito. With that Sambandha Jnana, one can rise to Shuddhanam, and also by selfless service to spiritual master. These 2 things, a person can rise to the realm of Shuddhanama. So holy name is the thing that is with us right from the sadhana level to the sadhya level. And it is, as I said, the topmost of all the processes of bhakti, and the most potent. So one should certainly invest one's time and energy in understanding the glories, the identity of the holy name, and how to improve one's japa. Basically, this is the bottom line. So if this class could help you give that inspiration, I'm very grateful, and I'm grateful to each of you, because preparing for this session has personally helped me a lot in my own chanting. Thank you all very much. Crossed the time a lot, so I'll just stop here. Anybody has any questions? I'll take one.